So I thought I might explain my journey about all of those psychic stuff a bit because you're gonna be like, who is she? What is all of this? So for me, with time, with doing more of this work and with experiencing more, I have realized that it feels so familiar, and it was actually stuff I also have experienced as a child without remembering anymore. And it's still something that gets more and more integrated in my system. So now I have some memories coming up of when I was a kid and the stuff I was seeing or feeling. And I actually remember meeting my dead grandma after she died. So there are like those things like I know of and I remember, but there's so much more that I don't. And all of that, it was like hidden away most of my life. And I was always curious, I could see it in everyday life. Now when I reflect on it, I would read so many books about fantasy stuff because it just felt so much more real than the world around me. So I basically closed off all of those abilities and just had even the sense of feeling was the strongest I had, because I didn't feel as if the environment I grew up in was safe, as if the world was like this welcoming place. So the feeling was something that had to be very attuned, like, when is enough, like when do I have to stop talking, or just feeling into everything so that I stay safe. It was basically just a protection mechanism I used to kind of be able to handle life. And then I moved away from my family. I was, I think 18, 19, like, to study like the normal way of life. And then I've discovered all of this again through sexuality. So through the different sexual experiences I had, I went into like this higher state of being. And then I started feeling woody. I started feeling, at peace, vibrating higher. Everything was different. My body was vibrating. Some would say it's like the Kundalini also working through me, in me. And everything was just suddenly different. I started seeing lights and the world as you see it. For me, it's covered like in this layer of moving particles, like kaleidoscopes. It's like those little playthings you have as a kid which you can move around, and they have sparkles and mirrors inside of them. It kind of looks like that, but with like a transparency in it, like kind of like mandalas, always moving. And it's all very beautiful and very symmetrical and very like just so beautiful. And there were also other stuff happening. It wasn't always that beautiful and light. Like I started experiencing things and feeling things where I was like, oh my god, what is going on? There were moments where I couldn't be alone for a week because of beings I have seen and experienced. And with time I was like, okay, you have to experience both sides of the polarity. The more you experience of the darker parts, the more you can experience of the light. So it all comes hand in hand, and after or even during having all of those different sexual experiences, it started happening in everyday life, because sexuality is all about just putting the two polarities, the masculine and the feminine, together through sex. So it's basically just two becoming one, like the polarity in the universe or the polarity in us. Some would say it's like the Kundalini energy, the feminine and the masculine in you, the Ida and Pingala coming together, and then the Kundalini arises. And sexuality is basically like the manifestation of the two polarities becoming one, and this oneness is basically the manifestation of God. So with that you can reach higher states. That's why some people reach spirituality through sexuality. And you could say I was one of them. Okay, so back to what happened after. I got curious, because when such things happen, when you suddenly notice stuff, as if you're experiencing some different sensories, things, and everything is different. I started looking for answers, and I did many different things. Like, some years were just filled with any workshop I could do, any event live or any online event. I joined some different communities. I did like an energy healing training, some tantra stuff, so many different things. And I was just always looking for the answers, and I was basically picking bits and pieces from everywhere I got. It was not like I found this way and I was like, yes, this is the truth. I was like, okay, I'm gonna dive deep into that, and I'm gonna pick that out, what feels right to my system, because I'm always about, let's check in. Does it match the experiences I've made, or is it something totally else? And when it matched, I was like, okay, I can accept this as the truth, because it matches my experiences. So basically, I always did an experience, and then later came the answer. Normally, even if it still happens, when I do the experience, I have no idea what it is, what is happening. And my brain has to kind of deal with it later. And then I get the answers. And for me, there are many different ways it can go. But for me, it's about deep surrender to the source. It's basically, for me, about allowing it to work through me and allowing me to feel it, and putting and letting go any problems, judgment, fears I might have of it. So there were moments also that was very nice. I had someone stroking my feet, and then I went in such deep surrender that I saw 3 different realities happening at the same time, and it felt like hours, but it was actually just 5 minutes. And it was, those crazy moments where you realize, oh, there is so much more in this world. Or I had a moment where I could see like the different paths I could take and what for consequences they would have. And I knew I could choose this, and I also could go back, like going back in time and choose another direction. Basically like going through a tree and picking the branches you want to go, and you can also go back. And then I later learned it's actually called changing realities, and there is this whole concept about it, which I didn't know about, even though I was experiencing it. So it's all of those different things. And yeah, then I looked and looked and looked. And I'm still looking for some answers to some things, because there come more, There's more and more experiences happening. And right now I'm pretty happy, because I found a community I'm living in, and the people there have some more answers to all of those different things, and it's something we experience together and can connect with all the different people and share experiences. So I encourage all of you to find people you can talk to about this, and I'm open to you sharing to me. But really something beautiful when you have a group around you, live people who are there, who know what you're talking about. Because the thing is, with this world, we usually feel so lonely with all of this. I remember myself, I felt so lonely, and that was recent. It's actually, it was for a very long time that I felt like, I'm like, nobody understands, I cannot talk to anyone about this. And then I realized, actually it's about trusting yourself to go for it, because there are more people experiencing those kind of things than we realized. And for some, it's about psychedelics and plant medicine. They have some experiences for that, not in everyday life. It's all very much different depending on what you have done. And even if the person doesn't experience it themselves, they might still be curious about it. So, you know, just going for that and trying it out is beautiful. Yeah, and there are some practices I also did that have helped me a lot. Like, for example, in Germany, there is this whole practice called honest communication. So it's not like radical honesty, it's like a honest communication about yourself. You have like a group of people and then you share like the different layers. My body is feeling this, I am feeling that, and my head is saying that, blah blah blah. And you have to basically focus on the other people that talk during this for like a couple of minutes. And because of this staying present and being fully there, I actually started seeing auras. That was like during that sharing moment, it was when it happened. And it's something that, you know, happens sporadically, or if I really focus on that, it's not something that I go through life every day. And I'm still learning. So I wouldn't say I'm perfect in that. I would say like seeing is the skill that I haven't managed. It's like I know some stuff and I know how to see some stuff and I see some stuff, but there's still so much more, and that's like the place I want to reach. So I also have pretty high expectations for myself. And you can, like, the things that I see, I can explain, you know, like there is like energy moving into you, like this looks kind of like this, or you kind of also sometimes spots where energy is running out of your system and it's kind of like an energy outflow somewhere, and you might have like some energy stack, and then it's, you can see like it's denser and the color is different, or sometimes the whole aura is a bit out of it, like in a different place, moved a bit out of the system. And there are so many different things. Like, this world is just so beautiful because it's, yeah, the colors get beautiful. And as I said, it's also the polarity, because the beings I have seen are not always light being. Like, the beings of nature are very beautiful, like the wind or water especially, and it's just wonderful, like glimmering and pastel colors and like half transparency, and there's like no way to really put it into words. And then there are like, you know, the whole dead people hanging around. There's a lot, and they don't always feel good. And when they realize you are there, they sometimes even feel needy because they're like, oh, someone notices me. Like, yeah, because they're still stuck. You know, there's something that they're not processed enough and they're not able to let go, because sometimes they don't even know they are dead. So they might come looking to you for, you know, some questions. And yeah, it's like they're hanging around in this kind of gray, not so nice place, you know. It's kind of like here, but it's not nice. Yeah, okay. And then there's also like the other side of the polarity. And there are those little beings that are, you know, just there to kind of do funny jokes and little kind of things. I don't know, like the English word for it. I know the German and the Polish one, but yeah, it's basically like they just mess around with people. And then there are also like vampire sucking, energy sucking things, which tend to hang around when people are ill, or, you know, in hospitals and places like that. And then it all gets bigger, you know. You have like hierarchies, and then come like all those demonic beings, which are not so nice. At least when you look at it in like a very easy sense, you know. If you go deeper, you actually notice they have a lot of benefit for your life because they can trigger you and then you can grow. So, and they kind of, yeah, they are big. They are just not nice. It's kind of like sometimes like a crocodile standing on legs, and horns also happen. And it's just, beings that are in general just not that nice looking. And they also tend to be huge. But, you have them and you also have angels. So there's always also the positive side, which we sometimes don't think about or realize. Okay, anything else I wanted to mention? Yeah, so basically when you get a grasp of all of those different abilities, at some point you feel like you can be guided through your life, because you learn to trust, because you just know it's there. So you basically learn to trust all of those different ideas there are in the spiritual world, like, trust the source, everything that is happening is right. No matter what you are experiencing right now, it will have some benefit. And all of those different affirmations people have, you start to trust them and believe in them because you experience it. You realize, like, even if you don't see the experiencing you're doing as something nice or right, it is in the bigger scheme of things. Because even if your life, everything looks chaotic, there is like no chaos in the universe. God and source is just, yeah, it's all amazing. It's all just beautiful. Like, I don't even know like how to put it into words sometimes. Yeah, what I also recommend is like doing inner work, because that is the thing that's helped me the most in all of this. So I did like a lot of breath work, body work, the armoring, and I keep on doing all of that because it frees the system up. You have more freedom for all that energy to flow. So those abilities are usually stored in you, but they will not be able to come to light if you're not able to handle that. If your body is physically not able to handle that, because stuff that can happen that you can see or feel or experiences that happen, that might be too much. It might be also too much in this beautiful sense of thing that you just start crying because it's just so beautiful. And yeah, so I think that's basically it, doing the work. It's the right thing to do if you want to practice and learn all of this, because it's going to come naturally if you're ready for that. If your being feels like, okay, she's doing good, let's give her some more so that stuff that she can manage, and then it's gonna come.